Christian XC1 review covering Las Vegas and the world. If you haven't already, please like this video and hit the subscribe button below to keep up with everything we have going on here at C1 Review in Las Vegas and beyond. We greatly appreciate it. C1 Review would like to extend its condolences to the family and friends of the two-time heavyweight champion boxer of the world, George Foreman. Mr. Foreman died today at the age of 76. Of course, there are so many things that people could talk about with George Foreman. Of course, his great fight with Muhammad Ali and Zaire. But one of the other things that, to me stands out more than anything else, and we talked about this with him in our 2007 C1 interview with him, which we're going to play at the end of this, was, of course, the 1994 fight when George Foreman was 45 years old and he defeated a 26-year-old Michael Moore. One of the greatest achievements, I believe, in sports history was when George Foreman won that fight here in 1994 at the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas to win again the heavyweight championship of the world at 45 years old. And aside from boxing, people know George Foreman for the lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine, the George Foreman Grill, which has been around since the 90s, and there are so many different models and versions. You want to warm up chicken breast, you want to warm up steak, get a George Foreman Grill. No sponsorship here, but just an endorsement myself. I've used it over my life. I've always loved the George Foreman Grill. But, getting back to more serious topics, I love talking with George Foreman. He was an incredible human being. We have been so fortunate to have so many great people here on C1 Interview, and George Foreman absolutely ranks up there. So I'm going to play my now 2007 C1 Interview with George Foreman. We were talking about his book release at the time, God in My Corner. You can listen to that C1 Interview now. Thank you so much for taking the time. Again, the great sports legend, former two-time heavyweight champion boxer of the world, George Foreman, has died at the age of 76, and we extend our condolences to his family and friends. I'm Christian for C1 Interview. Enjoy this revisiting of our C1 Interview with George Foreman, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'd like to welcome my guest this time, two-time world heavyweight champion George Foreman joins me now to talk about his new book. It's titled George, God in My Corner. Foreman, a spiritual memoir. How are you doing today this morning, George?
I feel great.
You were a man who had nothing as a child and became a famous athlete with millions of dollars, but you still felt empty inside. You really couldn't put a price on your beliefs and what defined you personally, could you?
Yeah, it's so rough. You come up in life and all you want is want. All you need to have is want. Want for food, want for recognition, want for a home. All the things you want. Then all of a sudden you're fulfilled and you have everything that you've ever wanted. And then you become frustrated because you think there's a satisfaction that comes along with it. I didn't find it. I didn't find it at all.
I understand that your spirituality changed you, but going from being such an angry person that you wanted to hire a hitman to kill certain people who you felt took advantage of you or you just disliked, to being a nice to everybody and forgiving the people, it really doesn't happen overnight. So can you describe what the process was like for you?
Yeah. And I tell people all the time the hardest thing was to accept. You get to be famous and you get money, and all of a sudden comes friends and relationships, and you really think you can trust the whole world. It doesn't take but a few days to find out that most people who really say they're your friends, they don't know anything about you, and they let me down. I felt betrayed, and of course I didn't know anything but getting even. And I sit around with hate. After a matter of fact, after so much time, there's so many people you want to get even with that you realize if I hurt them, they're going to know it's me. Maybe I can hire someone to hurt them. And it triggers you because your whole life is filled with getting even with people. It's more important than even your ambition. Becoming heavyweight champ of the world again was even second to getting even with people. I just didn't have any more space to hate.
You go through this whole journey and you realize, once you become famous, and I think the problem with many people today is you give so much to a young kid. They're pulling them right out of high school saying you're going to be a star, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, and then you don't know who's your friend and who really isn't your friend, and then you have to deal with all of those pressures.
Yeah, there are more pressure than you can imagine. You think success a lot of times is for yourself, but a lot of it is just to show others, and sometimes even to help others. then you get in a position, find out those others that you cared about so much just didn't care anything about you, end up bringing on a lot of hate and disappointment. I tell you, I was going nowhere and nowhere. One day I remember sitting down, frustrated, depressed, because I couldn't find anything else to buy. Just trying to buy my happiness.
Well, the more gifts you have, you realize even the more things you have, the less happier you are, and even more empty inside you feel at certain points.
Yeah, it's total emptiness. If you're going to try to buy happiness, you're going to find out that you get broken. You're still not going to have anything. It cannot be bought. You're just going to find that peace of mind, and I eventually found it.
As you say in your book, I really didn't have the desire to be a professional boxer. I just wanted to make enough money to live and support my mother. Did it just come to a certain point with you that you knew that, even if I didn't have a desire as much as I can, I really shouldn't waste this talent that I've been given?
It really didn't, because after I started boxing, I realized I could hit so hard. And then I'd read the critics who say, well, he's a slugger, but he's not a boxer. I get mad at the critics. I get mad at other boxers. I wanted to destroy everybody with my fists. I was mean at it. And I figured, I'm going to make a lot of money. I didn't care about nothing else but making a lot of money. I didn't care what people liked me. As a matter of fact, better for me, because I didn't like anyone in particular myself. And I sat there and had to grieve on that, and all the time. And so you find yourself with money for this, boxing for money, and money for this, and you don't really know what you're in this sport for after a while.
So with that being said, then you just go through the motions, it seems like.
You go through the motion. I remember losing the title back in the 70s. Then I had a renewed thing, because not only did I have those things I mentioned earlier, but then I had hate and revenge to add on to the other things. I wanted to be heavyweight champ of the world because I hated the people I felt who had betrayed me. I hated the boxer Muhammad Ali who had defeated me. I hated all the people who cheered for him. That sort of drives you. Then you have another drive, along with getting even with people, people betraying you. Now I'm refueled again with hate. And so this is no longer the motion. It's like, I'm putting it in action to get everybody, get even with everybody, and hate. And it pushed me to the end. Until 1977, it all came to an head.
So then you get to that point now when we look back at the 1974 fight with Muhammad Ali. You say later in your book, yeah, I'm glad I really did lose that match. It was a lesson. But you really believe that it was medicine in your water and that someone was out to rob you of that victory? You even go to say that you paid $25,000 to the ref to make sure you got a fair fight.
Yeah, and a fair fight because I was a cheater. In other words, sometimes I'd knock guys down, and I'd even hit them when they were on the floor. So the fear of paying a referee was to make certain I didn't get disqualified for hitting a person when they were down. I was that mean in the ring. So it wasn't like, people ask me, are you sure that someone put some water in your medicine? I said, look, I'm sure, because don't think I was good enough that I wouldn't have put some medicine in someone else's water if I had a chance. I was a bad guy.
So now then you move ahead, and now you realize and you say the lesson in life is to let go, and that's one of the big lessons in your book, and moving on. So now you've moved on with Ali since, but is it hard for you to see how the Parkinson's disease has taken over his body?
Oh, what a great human being. And and it makes you so inspired to really get out there. I know with science and research, we're going to find a cure for that disease, and hopefully it'll happen in Muhammad Ali's lifetime, because if there's anyone who deserves a second chance to kind of get their physical health back, it's Muhammad Ali. And I'm hoping that the doctors and science will find a way. I found my peace of mind when I found God. When I met up with Jesus Christ, I found that true love exists in the living God, and that knowledge of Jesus Christ changed my life, and I didn't have any time to hate anyone. Life was too short. Only time I had in this life was to love people.
So then you move ahead, and I agree with you 100%. You really found what you were looking for. So now then you move ahead, you retire from boxing, then you come back. Now you're 45 years old. Everyone says you should already be retired, and you step into that ring with Michael Moore in November of '94, who was quicker and faster than you. He dominates many of the early rounds, but still you find a way to win and become the oldest world champion and beat a man almost 20 years younger than you. Did you just want it more, and does age and physical ability just not mean anything then?
Most importantly, because I told everybody I was coming back to boxing to get money for my youth center, but I had to be heavyweight champ of the world to do it. So I had to stick to my integrity. I had to become heavyweight champ of the world. Someone to say I'm old, over the hill, they didn't understand. And then, too, remember, I told you something happened to me in Africa. Was I just running my mouth, or did something happen? If something happened, I could do it again at 45. And then redemption. I became heavyweight champion, the oldest man ever to do so. I felt so complete. And I remember falling to my knees and thanking God because I'd been given a second chance. And I found out that age, you know, is something that's going to happen to you. It's inevitable. But, you know, old age, but you got to accept age as something that's bad for you. I believe that's the best thing that ever happened to me was growing a year older.
So now
every year when they say happy birthday, I don't allow anyone to my parties unless they're smiling.
So now, you know, we move ahead. You retire once, and then you come back. So here's my question. Would you just ever have, like, an exhibition fight with Larry Holmes or someone else? Nothing like a real boxing match, but just something for the fun of it. Would you ever come back and just do that?
Oh, sure. I'll get down to the gym and work out with the kids. The strangest thing, you go into the gym and you work out real good and you find yourself in good shape. No one's in the gym. You know, I'm a 58-year man, and an old man in the gym is someone who's 25. That's strange.
So
that's strange. Would I come back and box someone on exhibition? I think that'll be a way for me to really earn a lot of money for a lot of charities if I get back and do exhibitions.
Well, I think at this point in your life, you're just doing your best to help everyone around you. So I move ahead. So now you're on this American Inventor TV show because you've been a successful businessman yourself, and many entertainers have made more money on their endorsement in business. Is it fair to say you made more money off the George Foreman grill than you did your entire boxing career?
You know, I've been successful. I'm not going to kid you, in business. A lot more successful in business is financially than I was in boxing. But none of this could have happened without my George Foreman winning that gold medal in boxing in 1968 in the Olympics, and then becoming heavyweight champ of the world. None of this could have been possible without that one boxing match. So you have to come include them as one.
I think you really do have to include him as one. So, you know, we see you in winning that gold medal in 1968. You're running around the ring, you know, holding that flag up, and that was what America was all about then. Recently, Don King, who you know very well, recently said to a major news entertainment outlet, TMZ.com, that Paris Hilton is now what America is all about. Is she really what America is all about right now?
You know, America you spell it second, third, fourth chance. And you know what? If I had a chance to do it all over again, I'd wave 2 flags.
And I agree with you when you say that, but, you know, when we look at this situation, I mean, come on, George, I mean, you've seen a lot in your life, and you've seen where America is right now, and you see what's going on in society, and, you know, many people need someone that encourages them like you do, because, you know, you looked for encouragement as you were growing up. So, you know, I mean, when Don King says Paris Hilton is what America's really all about, that can't be what America really is all about right now, is it?
You know, I really don't know Paris Hilton that well, but I can tell you this: America is about the people who get out there. I remember in a Job Corps center, it was veterans, retired veterans who would come out and volunteer to work and help us boys look for a second chance to get up off the canvas when life knocked you down. America is about those little farmers somewhere who are never going to make any profit, but they keep planting crops. They keep going out helping other kids, teaching them how to farm. You see a guy every morning, works up in the morning, open up his mechanic shop, and these people who have the bread stores. That's about America because they constantly build. It's a little bigger than Paris Hilton and George Foreman. I mean, it's those ordinary people out there who love giving back.
So now, and in closing, as I say to you again, the book is titled George Foreman, God in My Corner. You can get it at georgeforeman.com and in all major bookstores. So now you've accomplished so many numerous things in your life. You're on the American Inventor Show on ABC, but what else do you still want to do in this life?
You know, I told a reporter in 1977 when I made my re-entry into boxing, I stood next to my church, called the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ. I said, you know what, I really would like, he asked me what I wanted in the future. I said, to be able to, 20 years from today, to be standing right here in front of that sign, being the same human being I am today. And you know what, I've been successful. 20 years from today, I still want to be the same guy that I am right now, speaking to you, happy, proud of what has happened to me. I don't have anything bad to say about anyone. I have great things to say about my country. I have a beautiful wife who's given me a wonderful family, and I got wonderful kids, so well, pretty good. George is fine.
George Foreman, thanks so much again for your time today. We wish you the best in the near future, and good luck whatever comes your way.
Thank you so much.